Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. I'm excited to be back with you all again. I'm excited to have a new topic, and today what I want to talk about is visualizing goals. Let's begin to visualize our goals. As a child growing up, I used to allow myself to daydream. I used to allow myself to think about what if, the possibilities, when I get older, what I wanted to do and where I wanted to live. And I would honestly daydream. I also would find that I would have more dreams as a child, and I just felt more optimistic. I felt more excited, more happy, and I felt like I could achieve a lot more than when I got older. And I had to correct my mindset when I got older so that I could kind of get back to the feelings that I had as a child. Not saying that I wanted to go back to thinking like a child, but some of those same feelings where you feel like you can conquer the world. Some of those same feelings where you feel like you can do anything that you put your mind to. Some of those same feelings where you feel like no matter what obstacles you're faced with, you're going to find a way to overcome them. And so I've learned, the older that I've gotten, to go back to some of those thinking processes. And then when I would go back to those thinking processes and I would realize that, wow, even though I'm believing that this can happen, some of these things are just not happening. And so that intrigued me more to kind of take a look at my overall life and say, you know what, why are these things still not happening? Why am I still not feeling fully fulfilled? Why am I not feeling this connection? And ultimately, I talk about this in a lot of podcasts. I am working on growing my relationship with God. I had to get back to the starting point, and I had to really go back and discover who I was. And I didn't know who I was until I started learning who I was through my relationship with God. And so one thing that I like to do, even now, is visualize my goals. It's very important to not only write down where you want to be in 5 years. It's very important to not only know a quick comeback answer for when someone asks you, where do you want to be? Or when you start a new job and they're doing icebreaker games and you're like, okay, crap, what am I going to say? I just want to say something so they can get to the next person. But you really, really don't know where you want to be. And a lot of times it's really hard for us to stick on a certain path or stick with a certain business or even move forward in our dreams because we truly don't know what we really want to do. We don't even know where we want to be in our lives. And that's really important. Like I talk about in a lot of podcasts, let's go back to figuring out who we are. And once we figure out who we are, let's really figure out what kind of life we want for ourselves and for our family. Because ultimately, what we want is obtainable. It's obtainable. It can happen. There are so many people that are in certain positions in their lives that are there strictly because they feel like they can't get anything else, strictly because they don't see anything else. They can't envision anything else. And so visualizing and working towards your goals and working towards your dreams is very, very important. And it can definitely become your reality. I'm speaking from a place of experience. There would be times that I would ride through different neighborhoods, just saying to myself, one day I'm going to get a home. One day I'm going to be able to be a homeowner. One day I'm going to be able to have a huge backyard. And even though I wouldn't say that I've reached all of my goals, I'm very thankful and I'm very happy with the growth that God has allowed my life to experience. And I'm really, really happy with the fact that a lot of the things that I used to hope for and a lot of the things that I used to visualize and daydream about, like I mentioned, are my reality. And it's not just me. There's so many people that can relate. And this is definitely, definitely, definitely important for growth, to visualize and to know where you want to go. Having a clear path allows you to move more strategic and allows you to move in a way that's going to benefit you in the long run. I no longer want to just move fast and be busy all day, but I'm now looking at being productive. And so we're going to talk about today in this podcast the importance of visualizing your goals, the importance of making sure that you know really where you want to be, not only who you are, but where you want to be. What does your life look like? What does your story of success look like for you? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. Welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. We're going to get started in just a second. So the first thing that I want to talk about is allowing our minds to go there. It's important to allow your mind to dream. There are some people that are afraid of dreaming. There are some people that are afraid of setting goals. I talk to a lot of people. I talk to people that are wanting to start their businesses. I talk to people that have started their businesses, people that have closed their businesses. I talk to people at different points of their life, and it really helps me understand different perspectives. So a lot of times people are very nervous and uncertain about allowing their mind to go there. Maybe it's because they've allowed their mind to go there in the past and they were disappointed. Maybe it's because they feel like, what's the point of sitting around and dreaming when I know it's not going to happen? Maybe they lack the confidence. Maybe they lack the motivation. Who knows? There's a lot of different reasons why people do not allow their mind to go there. But I do want to challenge everyone to allow your mind to go there. Allow your mind to dream, not only dream, but visualize what it is you want for your life. Because it wasn't until I really knew what I wanted that things started to happen and I could say, aha, this is what I was working for. I would always be confused between writing goals and visualizing my goals. When I wrote goals, it was more so, okay, this is what I want to do. I know that by the time I'm this age, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. But I really couldn't see myself doing those things. And I would wonder, okay, why are these goals not happening? Why is this not happening? And truly, I believe that one of the reasons that they did not happen when I wanted them to happen is because I couldn't visualize myself doing them. There are some times that we really think that we want something until we actually get it. And we're like, this is not what I wanted. Or we write down that we want something. Say we want to move someplace and you go there and you visit that place. And then you begin to visualize yourself living there. And you say to yourself, wow, this is not where I want to live. This is not what I envisioned at all. And so it's really important to allow yourself to imagine your life at the place where you want it to be. What do you want to do for your career? What do you want to do for your business? What does a stable and successful life look like for you? Who's in your life? Who do you want to be in your close circle? What do you want to do day to day? Are you looking at traveling? Where do you want to travel to? Why are you working each day? A lot of times we'll say to ourselves, well, we're working to pay the bills and I'm working for this and I'm working for that. But it's not until we really start to visualize, wow, I'm really working so that I can pay off this debt. Let me visualize myself with no debt. What would I do with no debt? Let me visualize myself purchasing this home. What will I do with this home? Let me visualize myself creating a living for not only me, but for my family as well, where we don't have to do anything that we don't really want to do, that everything that we do is a choice, and it's a choice that's fulfilling to us. It's a choice that we are excited about doing. And even if we're not excited all the time, it's something that we're still proud of, because it's something that not only is fulfilling to us, but it's something that we truly want to do. We all know that every day you're not going to be excited to do anything. I don't care whatever industry you're in. There's just some days that you're just not excited. However, I can say that even the days I'm not excited, I'm still comfortable. I'm still thankful that I have the ability to choose to do something that is fulfilling to me. We've talked about that in some other podcasts, but the first thing that I want to remind everyone is to allow your mind to go there. Whether you've been disappointed in the past, or whether you feel like you've already daydreamed and nothing's happened, or you've already envisioned yourself in certain places, or you already have imagined your life like this and it just has not happened, stay faithful. And remember that everything doesn't happen on our time. However, there are certain things that will bring forth certain results if we stick on that certain path. And so it may take you a couple years, it may take you a couple months. However, not only knowing where we want to go, but visioning where we want to go and actually seeing ourselves doing what it is we want to do is very imperative for growth. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is asking God to guide your steps and believing that all things are truly possible. So not only did I visualize my goals, not only could I see myself in this house, not only could I see myself working for myself, but I also had to ask God, guide my steps. God wants us to be happy. God wants to give us the desires of our hearts. And so he also wants us to trust him. And in trusting him, I believe that all things are possible through him. I believe that God put inside of me all the necessary tools that I need to make sure that I'm successful. And so I believe it. Because I believe it, that became my reality. A lot of times we are not believing that we can get to the next level, and we're wondering why we're not going there. Not only do you have to do the footwork, but you also have to believe that this is going to happen. Sometimes I do consultations and there's certain people that are like, look, I don't have any faith in this business. I don't think that this business is going to work. I don't know how long I'm going to stick with it. And if that's what you're believing, then no matter what I say, no matter what anyone else says, that's how you feel. So whether you try not to or not, that energy is being put into your business. What we put in a lot of times is what we get out. I put a cake in the oven. I'm not going to take out a chicken. I put turkey in the oven. I'm not going to take out some ice cream. And so what we put in is what we get out. So I put in faith. I put in love, I put in consistency, I put in my passion into my business so that I get all of that back. And just believing that no matter what happens to my business, no matter what I can see, what I can't foresee, I believe that everything is going to happen the way that it's intended to happen. And sometimes the things that we think we want are really the things that we don't. There's been so many things in my life that I thought I wanted. Even opening my salon, I said, wow, this is really what I want to do. This is it. And it wasn't until I actually got there that I noticed and I realized that no, this is not really what I envisioned for myself. So what I want to say to that is sometimes we can visualize ourselves in certain areas of our lives, and we can think that that's really where we want to be until we get there. And so it's important not only to visualize, but also to ask God to guide your steps, because God can see what we can't see. God knows you more than you know yourself. God knew me. God knows me more than I knew and more than I know myself. And so me going off of my visualizations and me going off of just my goals and what I wanted to do, yeah, sometimes it may be hit or miss. However, if you want to make sure that you're hitting more than missing, my recommendation would be to ask God to guide your steps. Please guide my steps. Please bless my business. Please protect my mindset. Please protect my dreams. Please protect my goals. Please help me. I had to ask for help. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is breaking up your big goals into smaller goals. So a lot of times I find with different businesses that I work with that it's hard to obtain certain goals because we're shooting so big and we're not breaking down those big goals into smaller goals that we can actually check off. And what I mean by that is I'm a big dreamer. I'm someone that's very confident in a lot of things that I do. And it's not because I'm confident just because I'm Brittney, but like I mentioned before, I'm confident because I know that God has my back. I'm confident because I know the skills that God placed in me. And so my confidence doesn't just reside inside of me because I'm me, but my confidence resides in God. And so what I've learned to do is break up my goals into smaller goals. If I'm looking at, for an example, getting a brick and mortar location for my business, that's a big goal. That's another step with my business. That's another chance that I'm taking. That's another risk, right? But there's smaller things that I can do to get me to that point. So I'll start thinking, do I want to rent a building or do I want to own a building? Am I going to open a building here in this city or do I want to move to another city? And so depending on my answers, I start making smaller goals that will lead me up into reaching that bigger goal. Do I need to make sure that my credit's right? Do I need to make sure that I'm saving this much money for this? What are the overhead costs looking like? And so I'm making sure that I'm breaking my bigger goal up into smaller goals that I can check off and I can cross off to move me closer to my bigger goal as I'm moving. And so one thing that's really helped me, like I said, is not just knowing and talking about what I want to do, where I want to be, but actually visualizing where I want to be. The same thing in certain relationships. Some people will say, hey, I really want to see myself doing this in 5 years, or I really want to be in this kind of relationship before I'm 30, or I really want to do this before. And it's like we really need to go back to visualizing what we want and asking God to guide our steps. We can't do it on our own. As much as we try, we fail all the time. We're only human. And so all I can do is explain from my perspective what I do and what my recommendations would be. And so that would definitely be another recommendation, to break up your bigger goals into smaller goals that you can obtain, and it can actually watch yourself moving closer. Sometimes we get discouraged because we're not really looking at the progress that we've made. We'll say, hi, I'm still working this job. I've been having my business open and operating for about 5 years, but I still have to work. And we're focused on the fact that we didn't reach this big goal of being able to quit our job and being able to do what we want to do, which is work our business full time. And we forget all of the accomplishments that we've made thus far. And so you may be saying to yourself, yes, I'm not at the point in my life where I can go ahead and quit my job, but I am at the point of my life where I have accomplished this. I've opened my business. I was able to generate this. I was able to help this many customers. I was able to be featured in this magazine or featured on this radio station or being featured on this podcast. I was able to step outside of my comfort zone and actually promote my business. I was able to create a website that's functioning and running well. Whatever the case may be, applaud what you have done and acknowledge what you have done. don't let it just go by the wayside, and don't let it just be something that you skim over. The fact that you're actually doing something and working towards your goals, applaud yourself, congratulate yourself, and be proud of yourself for the movements and for the steps that you have taken, even if you haven't reached that huge goal. Because if we have faith, we know that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we know that everything works according to God's will. And so if it didn't happen, then okay. But I'm still working as best as I possibly can to move myself forward. And like I said before, sometimes we visualize things, and when we actually get there in real life, it's like, wow, this is not what I thought it was at all. And so, like I said before, that's why it is really important to incorporate God in all of our steps and decision making, because He ultimately knows what we don't. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is keep your eye on the prize and stay focused. So many entrepreneurs fall off. So many entrepreneurs stop their business, they quit their business, not because they found that this is more fulfilling, or not because they found that this path is where they should be going down, and this business that they started is no longer what they should be doing. Not for any of those reasons, but a lot of people quit because they are no longer focused, and they really lose hope, and they really lose the vision of their overall success plan. I know every day when I wake up what I'm doing for. I know every single day when I wake up, before I even go into my office, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Not only is it something that's fulfilling to me, not only is it something that I love doing, however, there are still goals that I want to reach. There are still things that I'm working towards that motivates me to constantly get up every day and work my business. It motivates me to constantly get up every day and challenge myself to be creative. It motivates me to get up every day and make new relationships and connections. And so even if I wake up a certain day and my day doesn't go as planned, my eye is still focused on my prize. My eye is still focused on my goals. And that doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter how that day ended up. Maybe the day was completely different than I anticipated it going. However, I'm always keeping what I'm working for in my mind. That's why it's really important to not only cut out pictures around your office space and have different motivational sayings. Let me just say this. When I used to work at a certain job, my 9 to 5, people used to bring in different pictures and different printouts of different cars and houses. And to be honest, I thought it was silly. I'm like, why are you doing this? And I never wanted to bring any pictures or any cutouts into my job because I never knew if I was going to be fired or not. I saw so many people being fired left and right. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to be that person that has to carry this huge box of all of these motivational sayings and pictures of my family and pictures of the car that I wanted when they let me go. And so I know, some of you are chuckling, but that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. And I was just like, I don't get the point of doing this. Why are they doing this? Are they just wanting to decorate their space? And some of them were wanting to decorate their space, but there were some other people that brought those things in because it helped them keep their eyes focused on their prize. Some people were going to work every single day to a job that they hated so that they could buy their dream car. Some people were going to work every single day to a job that was not fulfilling so that they can go ahead and purchase their first home. Some people were going to work so that they can feed their family. Everyone had a different story, and some people were going because they truly enjoyed what they were doing. However, one thing that they all had in common is that they were focusing on their prize. They were focusing on their goal, and focusing on your goal always, in my experience, helps you move forward without stopping so often. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to stop during your business journey. Of course, resting and making sure that you're pacing yourself is very essential, and I recommend doing it. I mean, I do it myself. However, stopping for years and just saying, you know what, I'm tapped out of this business because certain things didn't go your way or not as fast as you want them to go, it's something that will definitely or can definitely stop the progression of your business because you're stopped and your business isn't going to work itself. And so, especially if it's the beginning. And so keeping our eye on the prize is very important to us moving to the next level. Not only, like I said, do I want to just write down where my goals are, I want to make sure that I'm keeping that in my focal point and I'm keeping my mind and my eyes focused on what it is I want to accomplish. Out of sight, out of mind is so true. If I put something out of my sight, out of my mind for a while, I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to forget about it. But if I have something constantly in my mind, different pictures, different things on my laptop, different reminders on my phone, different reminders in my office, it makes it really, really easy for me to say, okay, even though I may feel like sleeping in all day today, even though I may want to go ahead and shop all day today, I'm not going to do that because this is what I'm working towards. Even though, I just made a huge sale, so I could go out and get those nice pair of shoes that I've been looking at. However, I'm going to make sure that everything's lining up with my budget to make sure that I'm still moving closer to my end goals, which is this. And so we want to make sure that we're checking ourselves and keeping ourselves accountable of every action that we do. We've been talking about making strategic steps and strategic movements in every area of our life, because a lot of times we just get wrapped up in the motion. We start moving so fast and we really don't have the why behind why we're doing certain things. So what I do, like I've mentioned before, is visualize and keep my eye on the prize, keep my eye on the goal. That way, when different things arise and when I have different choices and opportunities, I know which ones to say, okay, yes, yes to. And then I also know which ones to say, not right now, because I'm looking to see what all is going to move me closer to my end goals. And not just that, because like I said, sometimes I don't see everything. I'm also consulting God. God is the best consultant that you can have for your business because he knows everything. There's not one consultant on this earth that will be able to give you better advice and better insight on your business and on your life than God. He has us all beat. He is the number one consultant. So if you do have any questions, if you do have any uncertainties with your business, pray about it. Ask God about it. You don't have to be a perfect person. You don't have to be someone that goes to church every Sunday to talk to God. God is accessible for all of us. And so when we're looking at making sure that we're moving forward and that we're reaching our goals and obtaining the life that we want for ourselves, consult God on it and keep your eye on the prize. Stay focused. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is believe that you deserve it and don't feel guilty for reaching your goals. A lot of us feel guilty for the progression in our lives. A lot of us feel guilty for it. I remember feeling guilty at some points for being able to sit at home and make money when other people that I knew had to go out and go to their jobs that they hated. I used to feel guilty, like, wow, I don't want to come off as I'm bragging. If they ask me how was my day, I don't want to keep saying, well, I had to do this for work and I had to do this for my business and do this for my income, because I don't want them to feel like I'm bragging. I don't want them to feel like I'm holding this over their head. And so I sometimes felt guilty. Man, I feel guilty that I'm not actually at a 9-to-5 that I hate because everyone else is, or the people that I know are. And those were just different things that I would tell myself that were not healthy and were not true. Not everyone was at a 9-to-5 that they hated. Just because they went to a 9-to-5 doesn't mean that they hated it. Not everyone looked at me and said, hey, she may be stuck up because she doesn't have to do what we do. That was just all things that I was telling myself that were lies. And so I felt guilty sometimes for reaching goals, whether it be purchasing a home or getting a car or anything that I would do. I would be like, wow, I really don't want to constantly talk about this amongst my friends or my peers because I don't want them to get the wrong impression. And it wasn't until I realized that there's nothing to be guilty about. There's nothing wrong with reaching your goals and there's nothing wrong with progressing in life. It actually gives you more of an ability to help. I was limited in the help that I could offer when I was tied up at work all day. There were just certain things that I couldn't help with. And by the time I got off work, then I would have to go and make dinner. And by the time dinner's done being made, I would have to wash clothes. And, I'd have to also do homework with my children. And, there was just so much that I had to do because a big chunk of my day was taken up by my job. And so being able to create my own living, being able to be an entrepreneur, it allowed me to be able to free up more time to help others and to say, if you're really not happy with this 9-to-5, let me show you what I did. I can't say that it's going to work the exact same for you, but let me show you what I did. Let me give you some of my insight. Let me tell you what has worked so well for me. Let me explain what the advantages and disadvantages may be. Let me explain some of the options that you may have. And so it began to be something that was really, really beneficial instead of something that I was thinking that people were going to take the wrong way and people were going to say, wow, I don't want to hear this. It really had a different effect. It really was, wow, this inspires me. This motivates me. This gives me hope. I've always watched people on YouTube or social media talk about doing things like this, but to know that someone that I know personally was able to transition from their 9-to-5 and be able to work from home, it's intriguing. Like I said, it's inspiring. And so it allows others to hope. It allows others to know that it's possible. And so believe that you deserve it. Don't feel guilty when you do get to the position of your life or in the point of your life where you're like, hey, my dreams are coming to reality. My business is growing. I'm reaching out and making new connections and new relationships and friendships. I'm also able to choose my own schedule. I'm able to decide what I do every day for my daily task. I'm able to decide what cut I take for my business, for my salary. I'm able to have choices and freedom. Don't feel guilty for that. Be proud of what God has blessed you with. Be proud of what God is doing in your life. Be proud of the position that your business is in. Be proud of the position that you're in. And just know that you're in that position to help others. You're in that position so that you can continue moving forward for God's glory. I realize that God wants us all to be happy and fulfilled in our life. And He wants us to be at that position for His glory because He loves us. And so anytime that I have the opportunity to share different things that have helped me grow and different things that have helped me move closer to my goals, I enjoy doing it and I love doing it. And I also love mentioning that God is a big part of my business. And so a lot of times we want to take God out, want to exclude other things that we need in our business because we feel like we can get there faster. And like I said, even if it feels like you're getting there fast, it's kind of like you're sprinting, you're running, but really never going anywhere, And if you do go somewhere, then wow, there's another roadblock and there's another this and there's another that. And I'm not going to say that when you start communicating with God and building that relationship that everything's going to run smooth, because you'll see, you're human, you're still living in this world. There are things that are going to happen that will still challenge you. However, it's always better, in my opinion, to have God to rely on and lean on, even when those challenges arise, because like I said before, He knows the answer. He knows what we should do next. We don't. So believe that you deserve it because you do. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to live the life that's fulfilling to you. You deserve for your dreams to become reality, and they can, as long as you believe that they can. Keep your eye focused, consult God, and make sure that you're moving closer to your goal by breaking up some of those bigger goals into smaller ones. So I really hope that you got something out of this podcast today. The theme of this podcast is visioning our goals, visualizing your goals, and moving closer to the lifestyle and the business that you want. First, see it. See what it is. Envision yourself living the life that you want to live. If you don't know what life you want to live, then take some time and think about it. Where do I want to live? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be around? What makes me happy? A lot of times we scream that we want to be happy, but we don't even know what's going to make us happy. So take some time to think about it and work towards it. Like I say in every podcast, I don't want the conversation to end. If you do want to continue to connect, be sure to reach out to me via email. My email address is the letter B, Talks, TALKS, @yahoo.com. Follow me on Instagram at Brittney_bundles. That's Brittney, BRITTNEY _bundles, BUNDLES. I'm on Facebook at Brittney Bundles, YouTube at Brittney Bundles, and on Twitter at Brittney Bundles. Thanks so much for tuning back in, and I'll talk to you all on the next podcast episode.